People are nuts. You're nuts. I'm nuts. The person that sits next to you at work is nuts. And they're definitely nuts. But keep an eye on them at all costs. They could stab you with a pencil or something. A lot of nonsense, as you'd imagine, often spews out of all our mouths given we're living through this crazy epidemic, especially when it comes to fan theories. Some are so out there, they're actually terrifying. But others, well, they're not as wacky as they first seem. I'm Simon from What Culture, and this is 8 craziest TV fan theories that, even more worryingly, make total sense. Number 8. The Office's Toby Flenderson is the Scranton Strangler. This isn't the time or place to get into a debate about whether the US version of The Office was better than the British one. Let's just say they were both great and all walk away with smiles on our faces. A long-running gag in the American offering, though, was HR representative Toby Flenderson and his obsession with the Scranton Strangler, who, as you probably guessed, is a serial killer. The subplot was drawn out to such a degree, Toby even wound up on the jury that convicted George Howard Scubb of being said killer. What if the man behind the murders was actually Toby himself? It's a theory Reddit is keen to argue constantly, citing Toby's own doubt that he convicted the right person, along with the fact that Flenderson himself has many of the traditional serial killer markings. First off, he's a loner, and then there's the whole incident where he tried to move to Costa Rica and instead broke his neck. And how did he handle that? By swearing revenge on the town of Scranton. Interesting. Number 7. Every character in Winnie the Pooh represents a mental health issue. Okay, bear with me on this one, and that wasn't a pun. But just remember, a theory is just a theory. According to an article by the Canadian Medical Association of all people, the toys Christopher Robin plays with all represent a specific learning disability, or personality disorder, that the youngster may be suffering with. Winnie the Pooh himself shows signs of ADHD, specifically inattentivity. This is why he's careless and indifferent to certain situations, and highlights his obsession with honey, which, let's face it, was always a bit weird. Next is Piglet, who does seem to suffer with a generalized anxiety disorder, hence all the stuttering and nervousness, followed by Owl, who somewhat cruelly has been diagnosed with dyslexia simply because he's bright and intelligent. That's just mean. Throw in Tigger's deficit hyperactivity disorder, Kanga's social anxiety disorder, Rabbit's OCD, and Eeyore's clinical depression, and a group of medical professionals has taken a lovable childhood memory and turned it into a hardcore diagnosis of a young boy. Wonderful. Number 6. House is an adult Doogie Howser. Just to get you up to speed, Gregory House, played by Hugh Laurie, was a lunatic doctor in long-running series House, and Doogie Howser, played by a young Neil Patrick Harris, was a child doctor who was well smart in there. Given that he couldn't even grow a beard, a constant point of dismissal for the youngster during the series, and that he was never given his due, because, again, what rightful adult is going to let a kid be all medical? Is there a chance the sprightly Howser grew up into the grumpy, screw-the-world House? Maybe. But maybe not. Number 5. Dr. Claw is Inspector Gadget. When you start breaking Inspector Gadget down, it's a pretty grim tale. I mean, what the hell happened to him? He's got a helicopter propeller coming out of his head, his limbs are telescopic replacements, he's obviously been in some horrendous accident that's left him a shell of a man. Or has he? As the theory goes, Dr. Claw, who serves as Gadget's nemesis throughout the entire show, is actually the first coming of the detective. Due to some horrific injuries, he was replaced by a robotic nightmare that could never achieve any glory without Niece Penny, and his spiteful rage has seen him, essentially, become a massive terrorist. Sounds stupid, but think back to the opening credits. Gadget finds Claw in his chair, spins it round to find nothing but a false metal arm, meaning he doesn't exist, because they are intertwined. Unfortunately, this is all ruined when you learn about the horrendous Dr. Claw action figure that was actually released. What the hell is he doing with his face? Number 4. The characters in SpongeBob SquarePants are all radioactive mutants. I mean, just look at them. You ever seen a starfish that looks like that, can talk, and has developed so much conscious thought it thinks to get dressed every day? In short, it's because SpongeBob and his friends were all exposed to huge levels of radiation poisoning over the years, which has mutated their DNA. Still not convinced? Bikini Bottom, where they all live, is meant to be below the tropical paradise of Bikini Atoll, which was a nuclear testing bed in the 1950s. Not so cute anymore, is it? Number 3. Murder, She Wrote's Jessica Fletcher was a serial killer. Ever thought it was weird that 1. Jessica Fletcher would just accidentally stumble across all these murders, and that 2. She was able to solve them all before the police? It's because she's the killer. She picks her victims, does away with them, and then uses her superior intellect to frame someone else for the crime. Think about it too. What does the show ever tell you about the character's past? It's all just snippets of information. We're onto you, Fletcher. Number 2. The Doctor isn't the only Time Lord. Right, This one is nuts. In case you don't know, Doctor Who can regenerate into an entirely different person if he's ever mortally wounded. It's the equivalent of it was all a dream after you've written yourself into a corner, but that's a conversation for another day. The long-running story has always been that he's the last of his kind, but some people genuinely believe he has companions who have popped up on our screens in different ways over the last 50 years or so. James Bond, for example. After all, he's portrayed by several people, and George Lazenby's 007 once quipped, "This never happened to the other guy." Why did he say that? Because he's a Time Lord! Hell, even Mary Poppins gets outed just because she could fit a lot of stuff in her handbag, which obviously means it's a TARDIS. I don't even know what that means. Some people had the audacity to throw Keanu Reeves into the mix too, but we're gonna leave it there for now. Number 1. Breaking Bad is the prequel to The Walking Dead. Strap yourselves in, people. This is about to get weird. What if Heisenberg's blue crystal meth is responsible for the zombie outbreak in The Walking Dead? Look at the facts. We don't really know why the undead are running amok. We don't really get the answers Rick Grimes is searching for because he's always sidetracked by, not dying. They're both AMC TV shows, and a red Dodge with a black stripe across the hood has popped up in both, which seems very strange. How powerful did Walter White's meth become after it had spread to all corners of the earth? No one knows for sure, and don't forget that The Walking Dead's Daryl spoke of a janky little white guy drug dealer who once said to him, "I'm gonna kill you, bitch." Sounds familiar, right? That's because it's Jesse Pinkman's favourite word. Gibberish? Probably. But you never know. Let us know of any more crazy theories in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm on Twitter concocting more TV nonsense at SimonMiller316. I'm Simon from What Culture, and always believe in what you can't see. Or something.